If you watch with much more awareness, you may notice a certain energy rhythm which will not have anything to do with any of these things, but it causes everything else. But if you look deep enough, there is no rhythm, it's utter stillness. And the karmic rhythms, these things need to be worked at, otherwise you will be just a repetition of the past. You would like to start the morning with a chocolate, but here you start with a neem ball. Just what you don't like. To just get up in the morning and do what you don't like. And after some time, you will see your likes and dislikes are essentially your making. They are not some God-given laws as to what you should like and what you should dislike. All you need to do is just be the way you want to be. How do you want to be? That's all. It's that simple, but it's also that far away. Isn't it? It's that simple. After all, you want to be joyful, just be that way. Who's stopping you? No, they're doing this. See, now, you don't want them to do what they want to do, but you want to do what you want to do. This is a problem. If you want to do what you want to do, you must also be okay with everybody doing what they want to do. That's the only way, because freedom is a two-way stream, isn't it? Yes? Now, is somebody physically torturing you? If that is so, you come, we'll take you away. Because then you need to be protected. Nobody is physically torturing you, they're just doing what they want to do, they're saying what they want to say. Are they just saying just what they know? Isn't it? So, who is causing the mess within you? Yourself. Because somewhere you believe if you become angry, if you become miserable, it may pay off. And it does sometimes. If there are more miserable people around you who value your misery, it pays off, isn't it? Yes? If you act miserable in the house, you get many things. If you're joyful, maybe you don't get. Isn't it so? So you learn the trick. But what you need to understand is the trick is double-edged. If you're miserable, whatever the hell you get, it doesn't mean anything. If you're joyful, you don't get anything, so who cares? So, this is not just your trick. Everybody around you has always been playing this trick. And you thought that's the way. But what is it that you want? You want to be joyful or miserable? So just be the way you want to be. Does it infringe on anybody? Does it infringe on anybody? No. Now I want to smoke. If I do, now this is going to cause some disturbance to somebody. I want to just be happy. Is it infringing on anybody's anything? Is it, I'm asking? So you be the way you want to be, who's stopping you? You cannot do whatever you want to do, but you can be the way you want to be, isn't it? Yes? Can anybody stop you? Others need not even know that you're joyful. If they like a miserable face, give it to them. If they like miserable faces, give it to them, but you can still be joyful, isn't it? Right now we'll experiment, okay? Right now a lot of faces are looking joyful. I want you to maintain the same joy and look miserable. Do it now. Do it now. Let me see. You don't smile at me. Show me a miserable face being joyful within you. You must practice. Please do it. See, this will be needed in your home. If you're all the time ha 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 ha, they'll go crazy. Sometimes they expect a miserable face. What's so spiritual about you, all this damn yoga, he, and all? What's the problem? Action should be the way the situation demands. Have I not been insisting on this all the time? But you tell me, which is first? Your way of being is first or action is first? Which comes first? Your way of being. So if you say, I want to be joyful, establish that. Action, as the situation demands. Some people like misery, some people like laughter, some people like crying. Do it. I do everything. Please practice life in the satsang, that's why you're here. Encounter with truth, you know. It should happen here, not after you go home. What I'm telling you is, everything that you do is actually act, isn't it so? Either you do it consciously or you do it compulsively. If you do it compulsively, you think it's real. But actually it's an act, isn't it so? Everything is cooked up in your head, isn't it, whatever you do? So it's anyway an act. So do you want to do it consciously or do you want to do it compulsively? That's all the choice is. So you do it compulsively and you think it's real, it's a foolish way to exist. It's anyway an act, at least do it consciously, then life will be beautiful. If you do it compulsively, it looks like a trap. It's not a trap. Life is not a trap, because the exit is always there, wide open. Yes or no? Yes or no? Life is not a trap. The exit is always open, everybody is trying to dodge the exit. No? So, if the exit was closed, only then you can call it a trap, isn't it? The exit is always wide open. One moment if you don't take care, you will be dead. The exit is wide open. Your whole life is to somehow not to reach the exit. Isn't it so? So it is not a trap. It is just that if you think that your acts are all real, then it feels like a trap. Whatever you think, feel and do is your act, isn't it so? Yes or no? When you do not realize it's your act, you think it's God-given instructions. You'll start hearing voices. When you hear voices, it's very clear you need treatment. So, if you ask this one, this wants to be as pleasant as possible, isn't it? Yes? You want to know the highest state of pleasantness, isn't it so? So who is stopping you? No, but they're doing this. They're doing what they like. You be the way you want to be. If you establish your way of being, then whatever you do is just a question of the situation. Depending on what kind of situations when they exist, accordingly we act. No, I want to do my own thing. There is no your own thing. No, I want to become IT professional. There is no such damn thing. Because you're born today in India, you are thinking of IT professional. Suppose you were born here 1,000 years ago, you would be thinking of fishing in the ocean, isn't it? Yes or no? Action is as the situation demands and offers, isn't it? How to be is yours. If you've decided how to be that way, perform action as it is necessary. It's not good to get into spiritual academics. Spiritual process should never become an academic subject. Unfortunately, it has become for a lot of people. So, I want you to relate this question to yourself.
Do not use these things because it becomes an academic subject now. You're assuming there is a karmic body, you're assuming you have a mind. No, I'm saying, you don't really know, isn't it? Okay, if you have a mind, you must be able to locate it, isn't it? Can you locate it? Can you locate where your mind is? Then you don't know whether it is there or not. See, suppose you walk into this hall, this guy says, I'm in this hall. You look everywhere, you go behind this pillar, post, here, there, under this bench, everything. You don't find the guy. Do you have a doubt or no, whether this guy is in this room or not? Yes or no? This is the way, isn't it? So, you look wherever you want, there is no mind. Now, this is not just playing with words. You need to understand, if you want to explore this must come from your context, from the context of your experience of life. Only then it will come out well for you. Right now you're asking an academic question, anywhere you go the same thing, what is the nature of the Atman, what is the relationship between Atman and Paramatman? You've not seen Atman, you've not seen Paramatman. Why are you interested in the relationship? Atman, Paramatman means, for those of you who do not know, this is a common terminology in India. This means the soul and God. What's the relationship? You've not seen both. How do you know they have a relationship? Maybe they're divorced. If you look at the quality of life people are living, probably they're divorced, isn't it? So, don't go into academics of spirituality. Spirituality is not an academic process. It has to be an experiential longing to know. So, what you're trying to ask is, what is the impact of my past on my present working of my mind? You tell me, can your mind function without memory? If I wipe out all your memory, would you have a thought? You have to build new memory, otherwise there will be no thought, isn't it? So that's a relationship. Without one, the other cannot exist. It's only because of the karmic memory, the mind is functioning. If there's no memory, how would it function? It wouldn't function for a moment. So if you have some esoteric idea of karma, drop that. Karma means just the residual impact of all the actions you have performed in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, in your energies. The residual imprint of that. So that is the karma. So without that memory, your mind couldn't even function, there's no such thing. It is from that this is all coming. Another way of looking at it is, there is no such thing as mind, there's just karma. There is a discriminatory buddhi, which is not mind. There is a discriminatory intellect. And there is karma, there is really no mind. There is a huge mass of memory. With a certain discretion, you can pick what you want. But if you don't have the discretion, they just run right within yourself all the time. This is all that's happening. This is all that's happening with people. Because the discriminatory mind or the intellect has not been sufficiently developed or applied to, the past memory is running right. All the time it's going on. What happened 10 years ago is still bothering people because it's just going on. So, whatever ideas you may have, whatever intentions you may have, whatever ambitions you may have, the karma will overrun it because the necessary discrimination and awareness is not brought in. For this discretion, you need a certain level of awareness. Only if that is there, karma can be consciously used. Memory is not a bad thing. whatever the memory is, whatever the content of the memory, no memory is a bad thing. You remember something horrible, you remember something beautiful, you remember all kinds of things. This is not a problem. The problem is you do not have the necessary discretion to pick what you want when you want, isn't it? That's all it is, isn't it? So all the horrible things that have happened on the planet, usually only what horrible things that are happening, the news cameras go and take all this. It's on the film, it's stored somewhere in a computer. Is it biting you? No. If it is played here also, it need not bite you, only if you react, it bites you, isn't it? The same thing here, it's all just stored and kept. If you react, it'll bite you. If you consciously use it, you can use it in so many different ways, it doesn't matter what is the recording. What your karma is not the problem. Are you able to… do you have the necessary awareness and discretion to employ this in the right sense or not? That's all it is.
When it comes to the innermost core, it is all one. When it comes to the body, when it comes to the mind, when it comes to your emotions and the world around you and your activity, the whole significance of life, the beauty of life and the efficacy of life is in just finding the right rhythm. What is your rhythm? If you listen to the outermost surface of who you are, there will be one kind of rhythm. If you delve a little deeper, there will be another kind of rhythm. There is a very surface rhythm which will find expression in very fundamental needs and compulsions of who you are. If you watch yourself a little more closely, you will see there is a psychological rhythm which need not necessarily match with the needs and compulsions which drive you on a daily basis. If you watch with little more sensitivity, you would notice an emotional rhythm which is of a completely different nature than your psychological rhythm. If you watch much more keenly, you may notice a certain chemical rhythm which could be more connected to our emotional cycles than anything else. If you watch with much more awareness, you may notice a certain energy rhythm which will not have anything to do with any of these things, but it causes everything else. But if you look deep enough, there is no rhythm, it's utter stillness. There is nothing to do about one stillness, just to take a dip is all you can do. But all the other realms need to be worked at. Your energies, your chemistry, your emotion, your thought, your body, your desire, and the karmic rhythms, these things need to be worked at. Otherwise, you will be just a repetition of the past. If you get into a certain rhythm which is compulsive within you, you will be just a repetition of the past over and over again. Nothing new will ever touch you. So to find the rhythm, and consciously to change the rhythm, to make the rhythm more profound, more complex, or more simple. Above all, to be able to consciously change the rhythm, not to be like a broken record, that you go on singing the same rhythm all the time, all the time, all the time. At the age of 60, somebody comes to me yesterday and says, my husband is not paying enough attention to me. I said, you must be glad. If you had these prayer problems when you were 18, not good but understandable. At 60, you still have the same problem. At 60, if you're still a teenager, oh, nobody's going to tolerate you. Yes? Nobody's going to tolerate a 60-year-old behaving like a teenager, isn't it? So, if you do not learn to consciously change the rhythm of body, mind, emotion, chemistry and energy, you will become like a broken record, simply repeating the same things over and over again. The easiest way or the simplest way to break the rhythms which are compulsive within you is to start doing things that you don't like. You would like to start the morning with a chocolate, but here you start with a neem ball. Just what you don't like. If you want to break your emotional rhythms, the simplest thing is to look for somebody that you cannot stand and to work with them. Choose them as your partner to work with, somebody you just can't stand. These are simplest tools, may be drastic, but if you don't want to waste time in your life, that's the way to go. To just get up in the morning and do what you don't like. And after some time, you will see your likes and dislikes are essentially your making. They are not some God-given laws as to what you should like and what you should dislike. It's got nothing to do with the object of your like or the object of your dislike. It is just your compulsiveness which draws you to certain things and repels you from certain other things.